Hello, Recordiacs. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, involves a daunting task of continuing along from our Part 1 of Mission Impossible 4 through 6. That's it. If you want to continue, that's your mission, should you choose to accept it, because I didn't prepare for this one to be an episode on its own. Good luck, Recordiacs.
How are you doing, Patty Boy?
Three unqualified morons and microphones. This is the previously recorded podcast. All right, welcome back to another episode of Previously Recorded. And just like all the Mission Impossible movies, this one's going to pick up exactly where the last one left off with my impossible mission wheel.
Wow, it stopped.
You really stopped that wheel.
Abruptly.
What do I got? A 4?
Not like that much.
4. Oh, 4 is whiskey. I have to do a shot of whiskey. Fill the dead air, my two co-agents, Bob and Shane.
All right, so we are back for our solo Mission Impossible Fallout episode. Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation. A lot of information there, so we decided to do this. Mission Impossible 6, before we get started, where do you put this in your ranking? Is this the best of the movies so far?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, as we've said before, they continue to get better.
I just wanted to start. There was so much fallout from this movie that we had to give it its own episode.
Oh, nice.
What
There's
kind of
also,
whiskey you working with? Dubliner? I'm not a fan of Irish whiskey.
I've never had that.
It's
got
Steelers.
the
It's
Steelers
Steelers
thing
whiskey.
on it.
I'm sure it's going to be awful.
It
It tastes like toilet water.
It was a special one for the 75th, their 75 years. Or
I heard that
something
it's it hasn't been below, it hasn't missed the playoffs.
90
It
seasons,
hasn't been
sorry.
below the 500 mark or whatever
Yeah,
Talman's record is.
yeah, great.
Doesn't mean it's good.
It's substandard. That's apparently acceptable in Pittsburgh. You know what? There's a lot of work.
That whiskey's good enough to keep its job.
He couldn't get it open, folks. Getting that whiskey open, apparently an impossible mission in and of itself.
So I'm going with a nastier whiskey.
Much like that woman that
so
Ben
he is
Roethlisberger
just-
took
he
to
is
bed.
manning
That
up
whiskey
and-
said
Hey,
no.
allegedly, the Woodford Reserve
That's a good one.
Kentucky
Yeah,
straight rye whiskey.
That's. I mean, it's a rye, which is a little rough, but that's the official whiskey of the Kentucky Derby. Mission Impossible 2 would have loved that
Do you
whiskey.
think this is impossible?
You think this is impossible? Ooh, he looks like he loved it.
I did it.
One more impossible mission at the end of this episode.
You want some milk to wash it down?
No, I don't.
Stay
No.
tuned. We can do it as a group. We can do one apiece. One more impossible mission needs to be given.
I really like
I
whiskey,
hope I get
but
a glass
not
of milk.
straight.
No, I don't like it straight either.
All right, guys. So we ended abruptly because in our last episode, which was a little bit ago, just a lot of information. We threw two movies
It was
at you.
going to be 2 hours and
Yes.
40 minutes if we probably did the next one.
Exactly. So just to give people get intimidated by long run times, just like these movies are long. So just to make it a little bit easier on you all and myself and producer Nick.
That's why I don't run.
Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible.
Oh, Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible Fallout.
Mission Impossible.
That is the title in France. Yes.
No, that's
Possible Mission. We give up. That's what it is.
Same as Quebec.
Yeah. Ethan Hunt and the IMF team joined forces with CIA agent August Walker, played by Henry Cavill, to prevent a disaster of epic proportions. Arms dealer John Lark and a group of terrorists known as the Apostles planned to use 3 plutonium cores for a simultaneous nuclear attack on the Vatican, Jerusalem, and Mecca, Saudi Arabia. When the weapons go missing, Ethan and his crew find themselves in a desperate race against time to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. So once again, they're after something nuclear. This was released. Now, that's from an outsider perspective. In the real world, maybe this happens all the time. Maybe these CIA agencies.
There is a scene in this movie that I'll get to that I think kind of touches on that. More so than any other of these movies that I've seen. But I'll wait until we get there.
Okay. So this was released July 27th, 2018. Written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie. Response, critical, 97% positive, and audience was 88%. The critics' consensus was fast, sleek, and fun. Mission Impossible Fallout lives up to the impossible part of its name by setting yet another high mark for insane set pieces in a franchise full of them. It grossed $791.7 million on a budget of $178 million. That makes it the highest grossing Mission Impossible movie. Opening weekend was $61.2 million, which is a franchise best. And I really this new one's opening on a Wednesday. I think if it opened on a Friday, I think it would have blew this away.
Is it opening on a Wednesday because of a holiday weekend?
I don't know because 4th of July is 10 days before, like 8 days before. And then marketing, it spent $140 million on marketing.
This opens on the 12th, you said?
Yeah, the new one opens on the 12th.
Weird.
It is. It's weird. It's on a Wednesday, but that is such a summer thing, too. Like, that is very much what studios do in the summer sometimes, is they usually just release movies on Wednesdays. It's not... You usually see it more around the holidays now, like in November with Thanksgiving, you'll see Wednesday releases. But typically a giant blockbuster like this, you don't see on Wednesday. So... I guess what they're hoping for. So some of the development for the film, and like I said in the last episode, Cruise confirmed that a 6 was in active development on July 28th, and production began in 2016 and was halted on September 16th, 2016, over a salary dispute between Cruise and the studio. So their biggest star isn't getting paid what he asked. He wanted to be paid the same he was paid for The Stinker, that was The Mummy, which we were talking...
Another Tom Cruise movie that stinks.
It was a bad movie. So we saw it in theaters. I saw it in theaters. I don't know who was with me.
I was.
You were.
I didn't see The Mummy in theaters. I don't know if I've seen The Mummy in general.
It's not good.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
Keep it that
It
way.
was
That was
supposed
never
to
supposed to start the
their
Monster
dark
Universe back.
Yep.
Yeah.
They've tried the Monster Universe several times. It never...
It ain't
it's
happening.
not
So
working.
what do you think...
Was it Dracula Reborn or
Yeah,
it's not
they
happening.
tried
There was
like
a-
3
There was a
times.
Frankenstein movie too. It's not happening.
So what do you think... Because his fee for like the first 2 was like $20 million. So what
Do
do
you know what it is?
I couldn't find it. And my guess was it had to be around $30 to $40 million.
You can't figure out a salary for The Mummy? Like, you
No,
can't find that?
I couldn't find it.
I doubt I can.
If he was getting paid $20 million in the 90s, he has to be getting paid at least $30 million.
Do you think I can find a salary for the new one?
This says between 11 and 13.
Maybe we
That
have
seems-
bad
That
information.
seems low.
That does seem low.
What's
Because
that
he's
for?
also a producer, so he gets a cut of
What's
that.
that for?
For The Mummy. Cruise was
You-
paid
I-
between 11 and 13 for his involvement. That doesn't seem...
But then
that
he
seems
made-
really low.
That does seem really low. Is that just as a producer? Because he was a producer on that too.
Maybe.
Because that movie cost Universal like $150 million. Like they lost on that movie. I don't
Well,
know.
because it sucked.
Well, we'll save that for our Dark Universe recap. I don't know. So I don't know if you...
Ooh, this says it lost 95 million.
Yeah, it lost a lot of
Well, I
money.
might have.
Okay, so the big person missing from this film, obviously I didn't say this in the last episode, but Paula Patton, who from 4, wasn't in 5 because of her scheduling conflicts, but she was invited back, and then that's why they brought in Rebecca Ferguson, I assume. But Jeremy Renner's not in this one, and that was because he was filming Avengers Endgame. In August 2017, production shuts down due to Cruise's ankle break in a scene where he's jumping building to building.
Before we do this, is Renner in the new one?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Let me see if I can.
So I feel like if you're not in the previous one, they don't bring you back.
Didn't
No, they
Rames
are
miss
bringing back
one?
somebody from the first one.
Didn't Ving Rhames miss one?
Yeah, he
showed
shows up at the end
He showed
of
up at
4.
the end of 4, yeah.
Okay.
So I wonder
Okay,
if he...
as you work.
I wonder if he had scheduling issues too, but they wanted him to be in 5. Ving Rhames, so they just brought him back at the end.
Yeah, probably. Okay. So in August of 2017, production shuts down due to Cruise's ankle break. So this is actually in the movie. So there's a scene where the whole Benji misreading the map scene where he jumps to a building and he falls and he hits the wall and he gets up slowly and he's kind of limping, and that was him actually breaking his ankle and damaging his knee. So it shut down. They shut down for 9 weeks, which cost the studio $80 million, but was covered by insurance. So it really lost the studio nothing.
That's wild. Mm-hmm. What kind of fucking insurance is that? Geico? Like, what do you have
Production
that covers that? Like, oh yeah, we can eat this $80 million.
Well, it was like so you got to look at the insurance of it. Okay, you have to pay this premium, but
What's their premium?
What
is that paying? What are
What's
they?
like-
going on that they're losing $80 million?
Do they still have to pay?
Are they
Well,
like
they-
renting
is it
equipment
permits? Is
that
it
they're
like-
not using?
it's probably a little bit of everything. With you got to pay your crew because you shut
you?
down. Yeah, I would assume so. They're probably under contract
Okay.
to complete the film. But then also you have production costs, like you're renting all these trailers, you're renting equipment, and then you got to pay, I
That's
assume,
nuts to have something
permits.
that covers an $80 million.
yeah.
We're in the wrong
because,
business, boys. We need to be
I
renting
know.
shit to
Because when Fast
production
and
crews.
Furious shut down for switching directors, that was losing like $10 million a day.
It'd be
That's
sick if that
insane.
shut down forever.
I wish they would lose.
No,
all
no,
the
no,
money.
no. It's good for It's good for Universal. So the reshoots coincide, which we all know this story. So the reshoots of Mission Impossible coincided with the reshoots of of Justice League. So
Snyder Cut.
that's this weird CGI removal of the mustache in Whedon's cut of Justice League. So McQuarrie originally agreed to let Cavill shave his mustache in return for $3 million. So that is the equivalent of the time needed for the CGI, for shutting down production and for the CGI his mustache back on
So,
for
like,
the film.
Cavill needed to pay him $3 million?
No, Warner Brothers would have had
Why
to pay.
could they just not use a fake mustache? I don't understand why CGI is the best option there.
So McQuarrie said that's fine. Paramount said no, you're not allowed. Paramount is apparently like a notoriously like shitty company.
So I watched The Off, which is the story of like the making of The Godfather, and I don't know if Paramount's changed since then, but that is like the whole thing. And Paramount Plus, like it's their show,
Yeah,
and Paramount, the company, is just like dickheads the entire time.
yeah, they're like notoriously like their studio is apparently pretty shitty, and like they're just notoriously like a bad company to work for. Like allegedly.
How sick would it have been if Henry Cavill in that like bathroom scene is just wearing one of those like glasses, fake nose, fake mustache combos, and everybody acts like nothing is weird about it. Like everybody's just treating it as if it's normal.
Yeah.
And then anybody that talked about it in like after the movie released, they just acted like they didn't know what they were talking about. That would have been the funniest troll in the history of cinema.
So part of his mustache was like there's this scene where they're in that fight, and we'll get to the fight, but he pumps his like arms, and it's a scene from the trailer, and there's like a gif of it, and as he does it, his mustache gets longer and darker.
His
I have no idea what
beard
kind
gets
of
fuller,
cutting
so-
or CGI or whatever the fuck they did, but that was like a big thing when the movie came
That's
out.
apparently he was just doing that because his arms were tired from holding them up to fake fight.
Yeah.
And he said because I watched an interview where he was just like, yeah, I was just trying to like release some tension in my shoulders. But the director was like, what the hell was that? Do that again.
So Mission Impossible Fallout opens with our first dream sequence. The film, it's about him and Julia getting married by Solomon Lane, and then they get like blown away by a nuclear bomb,
Always a nuclear bomb.
which I thought was pretty cool. As our first dream sequence
I
in the
like
film, you're like, what's going on here,
I
Julia?
like that they keep like bringing her back for little like
Yeah.
cutaway scenes and shit.
I respect it because I think my note at the end of 2 was like, is this gonna matter?
Yeah, you had said, does this even matter? Like, is she
are
going
they
to be
just
around?
gonna act
Is it
like she
it's
never
3,
happened,
right?
or-
Yeah.
3 where they get married. Yeah,
No,
so
I thought that was 2 because the
No,
Rock
it's
wasn't
3. It's 3.
3.
It wasn't the rock climbing movie.
She's not
No,
in
because
2.
that was
That's Thady Newton.
Oh yeah.
At the end of 3, I was like, is any of this gonna even like hold? And then at the beginning of 4, I said like, they just brushed the marriage thing. So okay,
I feel like they're setting it up to bring her back in either 7 or 8.
No, I think she's done.
They keep referencing her though.
She's in this one.
I think she's always gonna be around.
She's in the last 45 minutes of this movie.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like
cucking.
I don't know. They keep bringing her up.
There's like no point. She's like, spoiler alert, she's like moved on, completely moved on. She's got a new husband.
She has to.
Yeah. If they bring her back, I feel like that was like justice for Julia. And like now we're like good, you know?
Just to be like, hey, look, he still loves her. Yeah, because she kind of like looks at Ilsa like, oh,
Like, yo, you're the one he's banging
y'all
now?
fucking,
So,
y'all
y'all
fucking.
Yeah,
y'all fucking.
Yeah. All right, well, that's everything about the movie.
That's all you need to know. Yeah. Were they fucking? Yeah, they were fucking.
They were falling out of shit fucking.
Yeah. Faust was falling out.
All right, so what do we got to do to make this recap different than 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5?
Let's just hit the main points, right?
Yeah.
So let's start with the idea that the bad guys are called the Apostles.
I like
Fuck
it.
yeah.
I like it. It's cool.
Yo,
Cool.
Mission
Yo.
Impossible Fallout. Are you fucking?
They fucking.
Yeah, you're fucking. The Apostles are a
What's
break
the
off of the Syndicate.
yo?
Still
yo,
cool.
Yo,
Yo.
what's the weapon this time around? It's the nuke show. It's going
still-
down.
Yeah.
Ethan Hunt gonna step in, save the day. What's everyone gonna do? Yo, that's Ving Rhames. There you go. You're
All right,
welcome.
that's
It's
your
still Nuke, spoiler
recap.
alert.
That was
Can
pretty
we-
good. I
can we-
just spitballed that. I just
Can
call
we
me
start with-
Eminem 8 Mile.
Yeah, seriously.
Can we start with a great Alec Baldwin quote? The MIF is Halloween. Grown men wearing masks playing trick or treat.
Hey, that is a great quote. He also says right after that, "Is this gun loaded?"
So, all right, so, what a fucking franchise. I'm genuinely happy you forced us to do this year because like these movies are.
I was so mad for the first two
They're,
movies.
like it's funny, the idea that I don't know that sometimes I don't know if they're making fun of themselves, and sometimes
They're
I'm
very-
positive that they are.
They're very tongue in cheek. I think.
Yeah, and they're like campy
When
but,
it's
like,
not Tom
Yeah,
Cruise,
That's
But
awesome.
Tom Cruise spiked to the camera in
Oh,
the
yeah,
one
that's true, he did.
movie
he did. He
and
smiled.
like smirked.
I feel like this is like that vibe of like maybe. I
And,
never
like,
saw
but
the
it's
show.
based off a TV show, so I'm curious if like that's part of it. Like, all right, we gotta like acknowledge that we know.
But
this
he's
shit's
just
ridiculous
so
sometimes.
he's so serious though that
I
like
know,
it
but,
makes
like,
it like
to
it's
go
tough.
back. I don't have quotes from this movie.
I don't think there's that many. I don't think there's some bad acting. I think this
These-
is Tom Cruise's one of his worst acting
There's
films.
one,
I actually do
but
think.
like the Hunt is the living manifestation of destiny, and he's made you his mission from the last one. And then also failures for a terrorist is just a rehearsal for success. From 4 are lines that in a writer's room you can't write those lines and then go, oh yeah, we fucking nailed it.
This is why there's only. This is the why it's not always good when it's just one writer, which is just McQuarrie.
Maybe he is like, oh yeah.
He probably
like-
told those
he's
lines
like-
to
he's
Tom
like,
Cruise,
right, he's-
and Tom Cruise was like, "Fuck yeah!" and high-fived him.
Oh my god.
Tom Cruise hands him back the script with like a bunch of notes, and it's all these lines.
But none of it's actually, it's just all pictures. He
Yeah.
draws in pictures. I like that.
Yeah.
It's just doodles on the script.
Well, that's what James Gunn does. Some
He's
of that
like,
sometimes.
what's your feedback here? I got kind of bored.
He draws 2 thumbs up.
So, this movie starts off with there's a new bad guy. John Lark is now the new.
John Lark fall out from the syndicate.
Yep.
He wants to blow up the 3 religious capitals, the 3 major religious capitals in the world.
Yep.
all at
Disney
once.
World, Disneyland Paris.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay.
All the religious spots in the world. Yeah.
He's attacking all the Disney adults all at once.
So John Lark can easily make these nukes. So they just got to stop
there's-
John Lark from getting his hands on the nuclear cores, which at least this time they're like tangible objects. It's not like a box code or something. Like they have to
They
get
gotta
these
get
cores.
these things. They have them. They have them for a second.
They blew up Rome. They failed. So they actually fail this mission. Like this is the first time that Tom Cruise, besides the Kremlin, actually. So I guess it's
Yeah,
not.
they fail a good amount. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. They fuck up a lot.
But hey, sometimes you gotta.
It's an impossible
You
mission.
fall
Some of
to
them
pick your-
actually are gonna
Mr. Wayne, why do we fall?
to pick ourselves up.
Yeah.
why do we fall off the horse? Mr. Wayne?
You know how you say Michael Caine? They make it sound like
My
him.
cocaine.
My cocaine.
Yeah, my cocaine.
My cocaine. My cocaine.
I like that.
I like him.
What's
If
the point of all those push-ups?
I like what he
Can't
says.
even lift a bloody log.
If you hire Michael Caine, I read the first script. I read the first page. I read the last page. If I'm on both, I do the film. If not, I don't do the film.
Christopher Nolan. What are you talking about? If he,
Yeah, I know,
if he
it doesn't
sees
make any
Christopher Nolan's
sense.
face, or he sees Christopher Nolan's name on the front page. He goes, "Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, what about I'm driving a boat in Dunkirk? Yeah, put me in that
Put
shit."
me in that shit. So we get Benji gets his mask.
Benji gets. So let's run through some things here. Let's kind of go. So they got to stop this group. They fuck with this dude. They film a fake news
That
scene.
fake news scene was awesome.
So that
I love
because
that.
there's like a scientist who can like tell them where they got to go.
So they didn't fail.
So they
No, it
didn't
was
fail.
fake.
That was a fake.
It was a
news
fake
scene.
out. That's when Benji got his mask.
Turns out
Yeah.
those 3 bombs weren't intended for the 3 major religious capitals: Disney World, Disneyland, and Disney Paris.
Yeah.
They just have 3 bombs that they're going to set off at simultaneous times.
Yes, correct.
And so
In
Wolf Blitzer said
Universal Hollywood, Universal Orlando, and Universal Beijing.
exactly.
That's where it's actually going.
So I'm gonna keep these going. So then Wolf Blitzer shows up with his beard, and he's like, "Ha! I'm not really filming my show." And then they trick the guy into giving them the information that they need.
Yeah.
And they say the line, which
Now, who they think is John Lark. They think this guy's
that
John
guy.
Lark.
No, they don't think that guy's John Lark.
Because he reads his manifesto. He wants his manifesto read online, and they think
I
that
thought
was
that
John
guy
Lark.
was.
No, it's not John
That
Lark.
guy's like the chemist.
Henry Cavill's John Lark. Spoiler
Yes,
alert.
he's not John. Yeah, but I thought that guy was who. He was like the chemist that like could,
Oh, maybe you're right.
and he was saying like you can't stop him.
Wasn't
yeah,
Henry
that's
Cavill
you're
just-
right. But he still wanted
wants
to.
the
Wasn't Henry
manifesto.
Cavill just like controlling John Lark?
No, he is John
He's
Lark.
John Lark. Solomon Lane is controlling.
Because like
Right,
he
right,
basically looks at the like we jump ahead a little bit because there's some stuff I still want to talk about. But he basically looks at the camera and he's telling Angela Bassett, "Isn't this what you guys were thinking? Like somebody John Lark would infiltrate." And he's trying to pin John Lark
he
on.
tries
He's
to make
literally
Ethan
saying
Hunt.
his entire
he did
plan.
it. What he did.
Yeah, he's literally.
So the
he should have
big-
just said to Angela Bassett, "I'm John
I'm
Lark."
John Lark. Yeah, I could be John.
I
Lark.
could be John
and she'd
Lark.
Be like, wow, you're right.
But
And
no,
they'd
it's
be
like, yeah,
but
it's definitely
obviously,
Ethan.
but obviously I'm not. And
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, I know.
But he's like, I'm John. It's obviously Ethan Hunt. So the CIA is now back, and the
Well, so
secretary took
the-
a step down
The
to work
big
for the IMF.
manifest line that they say 1,000,000 times in this movie is the greater the suffering, the greater the peace.
Yeah,
So this idea that they have to blow things up to make people suffer so that then everybody, that's the whole concept about the syndicate, is that they want to like fix the world
through terrorist
through
attacks.
terrorism because governments don't care.
So the CIA is like to the IMF, you're not doing this shit unsupervised.
Can't do it.
That's this one.
No, I wasn't worried about that. I was just so tempted to scream 9/11 was an inside job into the mic. And it made me laugh thinking about doing it. I'm not going to do it. Don't cut me saying that. You can leave that in. But I couldn't do it. I was just, as you were talking, going to be like, 9/11 was an inside job. Because you did the...
Yeah, so the reason Henry Cavill's in this film is he's a CIA agent who's been sent to oversee Ethan Hunt because Ethan Hunt's not allowed to
He's an
act.
assassin.
The CIA he's an assassin, and the CIA now has to oversee the entire IMF.
He seems, when he first comes into this movie, like he's never acted a day in his life.
Yeah.
He's like basically
He's stiff as a board.
He's reading off of. You could have put the lines on Tom. It
was like an SNL stick.
It was wild. Yeah.
But I think Henry Cavill should do more roles like this. I feel like
him as
he's
a bad
good.
guy.
He's good in this film.
So let's go. Let's do big scenes.
So this is the next
First
big scene
big
is the
stunt.
Halo dive.
There's the big jump. Yeah.
So this is the dive that they did where Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill are kind of fighting back and forth, and Henry Cavill pulls his.
They have to have the air mask.
The
on
air
'cause they're
mask
so
on.
high.
So it's called a halo jump because it's high altitude, low opening, and it's a military term. So filming took
I
place.
thought it was because if you die, you're gonna be an angel.
Not Tom Cruise. They don't believe in that.
No. You
So
don't go to Xenu.
He just, his soul goes to space. And
yeah, on the planet of Shift-Nu.
live long and prosper.
he's given millions of dollars to this
Snarf.
organization.
Snarf, snarf, snarf.
So filming took place in the United Arab Emirates, the only country that would allow them to do this.
Does that country's name end in a question mark?
I was like, am I pronouncing it correctly? Like that's what it was. He's the first actor to ever perform this stunt. So they wanted to shoot the scene at dusk, so they only had about 3 minutes to do so.
It's so dumb.
So if they messed the shot up, they were out there the next day doing it. Between
You couldn't do it at night, I'm guessing.
no,
Like it would have been too dark. You had to. So they wanted to do it as dark as possible.
yeah, to simulate the thunderstorms because they jumped through the
All right, they jumped
thunderstorms.
through the thunderstorms.
So between the practice jumps, camera rehearsals, and so on, Cruise took 106 jumps.
Jesus Christ.
So some of them are in like a tunnel, some of them are out of the airplane, some of them are out on a back lot. Between all of that, so before Cruise's Ethan Hunt jumps, his oxygen tube suddenly pulls out, but that wasn't a prop. Tom actually needs that to breathe, McQuarrie said. Once he gets that in, he jumps and the cameraman is falling backwards inches away from his face.
So, was that part of the script for the oxygen to pop out? All right, so then he genuinely needed to get that back in before he could make the jump.
Yep, so before he's allowed to jump.
Sequence, and then the cameramen have to do this with them.
Yep, so just inches away from his face. If the distance between them isn't right, then Tom's face isn't going to be in focus and the shot won't work. So they needed to be so precise about this shot.
Props to the cameraman then. Fuck Tom Cruise. All he's doing is diving.
Yep.
That cameraman's doing his job while hurtling towards the earth.
He's got to time it perfectly, too.
So they also had to make new masks. So the mask...
Imagine doing your job while hurtling to the earth, RP.
That would be pretty impossible. I can't type on a computer.
I don't even use the home row.
So the mask that the SEALs use is too dim and darkens the face, so production team created the mask with lights so you could see Tom Cruise's face.
Kind of made him look like an astronaut.
Yeah, it did.
Now he wants to go into space.
So Cruise,
I see.
This is what he had to say on filming the scene. There are just all these things I need to remember. I have to keep in mind the distance between me and the camera when I jump out. I need to keep in mind where the oxygen is at all times. I need to remember my lines and how to get the oxygen pipe back on the stuntman playing Henry Cavill. And then, I have to think about the altitude so I know when to deploy the parachute. So these are all the things that they had to do to remember to get this shot absolutely right. So they rehearsed this in giant wind tunnels, but filmed for only 3 nights. So essentially, they had 3 takes. They got this in 3 takes. Because you can't get back up in the air. Because they had only 3 minutes to film it, and you can't get back up in the air that quick. So literally, they had 1 shot per day.
All right, so
and they got it right on the 3.
3 chances, and they got it right on the 3rd one. They pieced the 3 together.
I would assume that's what happened. Yeah, that scene was awesome because I was watching it and I was like, I guess he really did do this. And then obviously,
he did. I didn't think about the fact that someone had to film it.
But then going through the lightning storm,
I figured there would have been some kind of fucking
like device.
Yeah, like a rig that they would put on him.
No, somebody had to film it. So that's got to be cool. It's a once in a lifetime experience.
It's cool,
too.
But are you the cameraman who signs up for that? Or are you the cameraman who draws a short straw?
I assume they're just they take parachute
okay,
diver.
Jim, you're jumping.
Well, wouldn't you want the best
skydiver
cameraman though, who's gonna actually get
probably what's gonna happen is they grabbed a skydiver and taught him how to film a camera.
This is the classic Armageddon.
Yeah, they took oil drillers and taught them how to be astronauts,
or teach the astronauts how to be oil drillers.
Yeah.
So is Mission Impossible that original, or is it just a copyright?
They're just ripping off everybody.
God,
Mission
fuck this movie.
Mission Impossible stole Armageddon.
This scene led to a really funny line when they landed. And Henry Cavill regains consciousness.
Yeah.
And he goes, "It looks like you lost your oxygen."
Yeah, because he replaces.
I genuinely laughed out loud at that scene.
Because he delivers it like such a fucking dickhead.
So good. Yeah. So they go into this party,
and this part's awesome because they now have you're like, what's this laptop?
It's not. Wait, go ahead.
I'm talking about the bathroom scene.
Oh, okay. Well, before that, they go into this party. And it's this big, you see I've never been to Europe, so I don't know what it's like. But you see in any, movie where it's, these European, club parties. Like, John Wick has the big one in, the cemetery or wherever they're at.
Yeah.
And, the catacombs. You see these, big European club parties, and then you see Henry Cavill and Tom Cruise in,
suits.
They look like narcs. They straight up just look like narcs at this.
They're very out of place.
Yeah, they stick out
they should have had their Dan Flash's shirts for
this.
Should
have.
Yeah,
they should have. You're right.
Better. And then
this is
I
why
actually
we
thought
should
that too. I was like, they're walking around in this club in a Tom Cruise at least didn't have the tie. He just went open shirt.
Yeah, but they look like narcs.
Henry Cavill
Tom Cruise was he needs to look like a noob so I can look cool.
Yeah,
if I was
Cavill looks cool.
If I was to imagine a CIA operative in my head, it's Henry Cavill in that scene, with the tie and the suit and all.
Did you ever see The Man from U.N.C.L.E.? He plays a good agent.
Yeah,
it's a good movie.
So, what's the Lark? Right, is the guy they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you might as well just call him Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty, because
it doesn't fucking matter.
He sits on a wall. Yeah. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
He broke his fall.
So they're looking for Lark. It's this guy that they find in the bathroom.
Through the glory hole.
All hell breaks loose there.
Yeah, so Henry Cavill, they fight this guy who ends up being a good fighter, and Henry Cavill hits him with the laptop, which then the laptop turns out to be a new mask printer. So this is when then they again do the trope of they haven't met John. Let's just hope they haven't met John Lark.
Yeah.
The fight scene's pretty
the fight
awesome.
scene with
They're
the
like
beard.
him with like a fucking pipe. Like they're like,
Oh, it's sick. He throws him through like this tile like wall.
See, what
and
was
then
funny too
Rebecca
was
Ferguson.
Ilsa Faust
When
shows
they-
up.
Boom.
before the guy wakes up when they had him in the stall,
stall,
and the
and
guys
the
walk
three
in, they're
guys,
like,
yeah,
"Hey, what's going on in there?"
I thought the same thing. I'm like, this looks very suspicious.
So they need to go meet the broker. And so he goes,
So
let's pretend that
he's-
she didn't meet
So
Lark.
so Ilsa's back though, and he's like, Tom Cruise is like, what are you doing here? Like I thought you got out, and you're like, all right, so now there's a new mystery. Why is she back in the game?
Yeah, she comes in and shoots.
She shoots-
Lark
He
in the
shoots
face.
Lark,
The
the
guy-
Lark guy.
And
Which-
well, that was a funny line too. He goes, I think it was Henry Cavill. He's like, "Can you still make a mask?" And Tom Cruise is like, "Well, I need a face for that."
Yeah, because she shoots him in the face. So they go into this room where they meet the arms dealer that Lark's supposed to meet, and Tom Cruise is playing.
She's
as
like
John
the White
Lark.
Widow or something like that.
Yeah,
It's like her
played
name.
by Vanessa Kirby, who was potentially in the running for Sue Storm. What would you think of that casting? I would hated it. She's in Hobbs and Shaw as well.
She's weird looking.
I wouldn't mind it. I don't think it depends on. I don't know. She plays this part well.
Yes, she's
I
good
like
in this
her
movie.
in this part. I don't know that I can see her in like the mother figure, like heart of the Fantastic Four
Yeah.
situation. Like,
Are
I
they
don't see
trying to
her.
go like not that well known for Fantastic
Oh,
Four?
they cast. Did you not read the? I told you. It's Adam Driver is Reed.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Margot Robbie is Sue. Paul Mescal is Johnny Storm, and Daveed Diggs is the Thing.
So why'd you bring this up?
Because she was in the running
Oh,
for a little
was.
bit. I just couldn't
didn't
see
realize
her.
that they casted
Okay.
that.
It's not official. It's not, but that's the scoop.
All right. I didn't have
Reed's
this.
Adam Driver's been locked for like
I didn't
the
have-
longest.
Adam Driver. I feel like I've heard. I didn't have the scoop though.
Yeah. Homeboy.
So anyway, they go into this club, right? And then she's like, I run this joint. And he's like, well, people are trying to kill you. Tom Cruise gets all tough with her. Her brother shows up. And then they're running out. And you know what Elsa Faust does? Well, he's like, I'm the one that can get you out of here alive. And she's like, all right, let's go. And then Henry Cavill, whatever his name is, Walker, right? Maybe? Does Walker sound right?
Walker.
Johnny Walker. Yeah.
James John Walker. And then Ilsa Faust shows up. And you know how Ilsa Faust, she like takes down the bad guys? She wraps her fucking legs around their head and fucking flips them to the ground.
No, I never really noticed that. I was just like, because
Dude,
it looks cool.
Watch it again. It's all the time.
Yeah.
It's nuts. She does it like 4 more times. I think I like start getting mad.
Yeah. So they go, what? All right. So how are they going to get the plutonium core switch? Again, they always think it's going to be easy than what it is. But what they have to do is they have to break Solomon Lane out to get the plutonium. And this is like, I feel like this is the first third of the movie. Is just the multiple. You have the one fake sequence.
Where I watched that. So Solomon Lane is a motorcade. He's getting transferred. Every government that has been affected by him wants to
Yeah,
be able to like get their
due, like
yeah,
their
exactly.
due process.
and so they're lashes. And so he's in France, I believe,
Yes.
at this point. And so
He's never. They want him. So you find out Rebecca Ferguson's there because they know he's never going to get back to London. So they
Yes.
just want to kill him. They just want to kill.
Well, no, it's not even that he's not going to get back to London.
Oh, they don't want it to
They
reveal.
don't want him to be able to tell these other governments that they're the ones who
That fault.
fucked up.
So that's why she's back.
got to just kill him so that he doesn't have a chance to do that.
And she's off the hook.
And then she's out. Then she can officially be out.
Yeah.
So the first dream sequence, which you don't realize is a dream sequence, they're telling him like, "Hey, you have to get Solomon Lane out." And Tom Cruise, they cut to like Tom Cruise like
Yeah, I thought it was,
what the breakout is going to look like. And in my head, I'm like, dude, this is a motorcade for the most dangerous terrorist in the history of the world in these films, and it's like two
Cars,
motorcycles, a couple cars, and like 18 people.
Not one helicopter. It seemed like.
No, there was.
Not in the dream one. Not in the dream
in
one.
the real
Because I
one,
remember
there's-
saying like, this is an awful, like, no wonder. Because the dream sequence is Tom Cruise in these movies, Ethan Hunt in these movies is like, I'm not taking meaningless life. I'm only killing the people who need to die.
He's the good guy. He's the epitome of a good guy.
Yeah, and so like, but never been an issue really before with like the recklessness in which he drove. But now he's like, all right, I'm not doing this. And then in the dream sequence, he like opens up the back of the box truck and it's like spraying people.
And I
with
actually thought it was
bullets.
pretty cool for them
I thought
to
it was
play
real
it
when
out.
I watched it.
'cause
Like, I thought it was what it was
Me
gonna
seeing the movie, I thought it was real too because I was like, I don't remember them this happening. But I'm like, I guess this is what happens. And then obviously it's fake because he plays out the entire scene, and then you don't know what his actual plan is.
So then he can alter it.
But you see him put these two things on these posts where they park the bad guy car, and you're like, what's going on? Then you're like, wait, why is his heels 3 inches tall? Did you notice the shoes he was wearing in that scene? Oh my God, he's like floating. It looks like he's floating. His heels, because he's so fucking short, which I think he's 5'6", so I'm not much taller than him.
He's my height.
What are you, 5'7"?
I'm 5'6".
Oh, you're 5'6"?
So my driver's license says. I never questioned it.
So then he's 5'4", because there's no way he's your height, because I don't view you as small.
I am small.
He's wearing the...
If I was doing action stuff, you'd be like, that's a short dude.
He is wearing the thickest platforms I've ever seen.
Tom Cruise listed at 5'7", which tells me he's probably 5'5".
Yeah, probably, yeah.
His publicist got a couple extra inches in
Absolutely.
there.
I went to my doctor the one time, so I think I'm 5'5". My license says I'm 6'6". So I went to my doctor the one time, and I don't even know what they're called, like the not a nurse, but
It's like your nurse that checks you in.
yeah, like the practitioner or whatever is checking me in, and she's like 5'7", and I laughed. I was like, thanks, you were so nice. Yeah, I know that's not what that said.
Were you wearing a hat that day?
I appreciate it. No, I was wearing those shoes that Tom Cruise has.
So then the actual mission plays out, and he knocks the motorcade into the river, and then his team extracts Solomon, and then this guy go on a chase,
Motorcycles
to then car,
and then a sick accident. Spoiler alert: Ethan Hunt not dead.
Yeah. I like the scene where the box truck that him and Cavill are driving, because they're in this together, gets stuck in between the walls, and they bust out the...
on purpose,
on
right?
purpose,
like they knew what they were doing. It was kind of cool.
And then
they bust out the front, and then his motorcycle won't start.
Yeah.
Katie actually walked out for this part when I was watching it, and she goes, "Oh, so convenient that those motorcycles are there." And I was like,
they set it up.
They put it there.
They put them there.
But there is the funny, like, it's not funny scene because it becomes serious. But like when they get in, they Walker and Hunt get out. At this point, Benji and Ving Rhames, I can't remember Luther have Solomon Lane, like they've pulled him out. They don't know why Ilsa is there, but they like all meet up. They finally get to where they're supposed to be. They're like in the canals and stuff like that under the ground, and they get to their car that's supposed to be like their getaway vehicle. And they open the garage with like Solomon Lane with the hood over his head, and there's just a random like police officer standing outside of it.
Yeah,
and it's like the awkward like they're looking at her, she's looking at them,
and Tom Cruise is just like, just go away.
Yeah,
it's like, just go away.
Please go away.
He like says it like 18 times.
Well, then she gets shot. It's kind of sad.
It is, yeah. So then the bad guys show up, and they find Tom Cruise, Solomon Lane, all them, and they shoot him, and they shoot her, and then they escape, and then now Ilsa Faust is shooting at Tom Cruise, Solomon Lane, Ving Rhames, Benji, and they're like, who's that? And then they find out it's her. So then this leads to a chase of Solomon Lane, Tom Cruise, and this is kind of part of this whole thing
this
too.
Whole
is
sequence
what's
in
going
like the
on.
middle of this movie is pretty wild.
It is, because there's multiple
this
angles.
Is why, like I said, this one is gonna like this is the one that could be confusing because it's like twist after twist after twist.
Because there's multiple things going on right now. You have Tom Cruise hoping that they don't know who John Lark is, and then him trying to decide what the right thing to do is, like, how do we get Solomon Lane out of here? And then the other side of it is, if it goes wrong and they like get him, Solomon Lane's going to identify Ethan Hunt right away to the bad guys
and be free. So it's like and then Ethan's dead. So it's like and then the cores are out there. So it's like it's really like a culmination of the first act is I want to say the first two acts is probably right here, and it's done well. And this is also the scene when they catch him and he's talking to Ethan that I saw the summer that this fucking movie came out. I saw 1,000,000 times. Every movie we went to in 2017 had this fucking trailer of Solomon Lane whispering, "Ethan, you're the fallout of your actions." Like the entire. And then you pointed.
Yeah, I did.
Fallout. You said Fallout.
But I was like, I can't wait till this movie fucking comes out so I don't have to see this trailer again.
I forgot about that, and I heard the first time I heard his voice in like the 5th movie, I was like, "Oh, this fucking guy."
That was the problem with these movies, which made me want to not watch them even more. This one, the new one is not Dead Reckoning. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
hasn't been bad. I feel like I haven't seen shit for the new one really.
Yeah, I've seen one
When did
trailer.
This movie came out, what, 2018? Was this movie,
was the one that
was
was,
this
like,
trailer playing for
January
like
to,
2
like,
years, or
June.
did we just see a lot of movies that year?
2018, I think we saw a decent amount of movies.
But also, it was like this trailer was on everything from like January to June.
Yep, yeah.
Because I remember saying like, "All right, this
Said,
is
"Fuck this
this is
movie."
ridiculous," and
Yeah.
I didn't want to see it because anytime I wanted to see anything else, I had to. It was
It was the Fast X trailer. All
It
over
was the
again.
Nicole
Yeah,
Kidman.
Yeah, hey, don't.
at first. Now we love it.
Now it's a household thing.
Yeah, heartbreak feels good in a
yeah,
place like this.
It certainly does. My favorite line.
Speaking of heartbreak,
So
what a web they weave.
Into the Spider-Verse, Ready Player One, so there's 2 right there. I'm looking at other movies this year.
Didn't see Tag in theaters.
I feel like it was like
well, the
it was
trailer
like
was
10 times
the
we saw
trailer.
this fucking
The
trailer.
trailer showed with Avatar. So that was the first movie. It was Avatar, and then I went to the movies. I saw.
I didn't see Avatar in theaters.
Yeah, you did. Me and you did. Way of Water. Sorry. Avatar 2.
They're talking about the new one.
He's talking about the new one. Yeah.
No,
The
he's
new
talking about the
trailer.
old trailer. Into the Spider-Verse. The old is the
Into
old
the
the
Spider-Verse.
first
Oh,
one.
Ready Player One.
when we saw this trailer so many times. I'm trying to look at
I saw
movies.
Spider-Verse alone. I saw that in theaters. I saw it with Audra on a Sunday.
I saw it in the theaters though.
I saw
went,
Into the Spider-Verse in theaters.
Yeah,
maybe I went with Bob. I definitely saw it in the theaters.
Yeah.
Or me, you might have saw it twice.
I did see it twice.
I think you saw it on your own and then you saw it with us.
Yep, that's exactly what happened.
Weirdo.
Yeah. Just saying, because even this year I haven't seen the Dead Reckoning. I've been to the movies a bunch.
That's what I mean.
I went to the movies like 8 times in March, and I saw the trailer once, I think.
I don't even think I've seen a trailer for it yet.
Yeah. There's just so many
They're
shows.
figuring it out.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out in 2019. The trailer might have still been playing.
No, once the movie's
Maybe
out,
it's
done.
2017 movies I need to look at then.
Shane needs to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
Detective Shane here.
Because I feel like we saw this trailer like 6 times.
I
did.
saw it a bunch. What
And I need
What
to
Marvel
find-
movies
Yeah, what were
came
the
out?
Marvel movies?
So,
You didn't say any
20
Marvel movies.
2018 was Black Panther,
Boom, that's January.
then Infinity War, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp. Probably was
Infinity
around
War
that.
would have been
Yeah, there
May,
you go.
so that's another one.
Yeah, and then probably Star Wars was that December, so we probably saw it then. And then like Spider-Man was that's going too far back, but like Thor or Doctor Strange was in November, so we probably saw it from November till
This was the one that came out in December.
yeah.
It was a lot.
No, this is the one that came out in July.
We
So
definitely. I feel like I saw that trailer like 6 different times.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, still with this.
yeah, it
So
was just
anyway.
constantly. Anyway,
He says the Fallout.
the thing he said
s-
the fallout of your good intentions.
Spider-Man, Logan, and Guardians Volume 2 were all 2017.
Yeah, so whenever this came
And
out,
Thor Ragnarok apparently, and Wonder Woman.
that
and
was
Justice League.
November though.
And Kong Skull Island, which I feel
Great
like
movie.
we
I
saw all
didn't see
these
that in theaters.
I did.
Kingsman, The Golden Circle, The Mummy.
Now you're just listing movies.
That's all 2017
Yeah,
movies.
but
Yeah, but this
I don't
came
know
out in the
when
summer.
when this started. I said January to July. You're listing things that came out the previous May.
I'm listing the movies that I saw in the theaters.
In 2017, this movie came out in
This movie-
July of 2018.
So
I fucking quit the podcast. I'm done with you guys.
you can't quit as a guest.
Oh my god!
Like Bob drove me here too. I
Great,
can't even
great.
like,
Yeah,
storm
I was gonna
home.
say great. I get to drive a dead body home.
I can't even storm home.
But you know who does get basically dragged like a dead body through the catacombs? Solomon Lane, because he's
So-
trapped in the boat.
This is the cool part. This is the cool part of this film.
I did say so before you get to your cool part, and I have to say this because you've made a lot of comments about it today. I said nobody rides a bike better than Tom Cruise.
I don't care. I don't think he's not a bad motorcycle driver. I just know, because here's the difference, right? You're in a car, they're going to fuck you. They're going to fucking crash the car. Something cool's going to happen in the car. They're not going to hit Tom Cruise on a motorcycle with a car.
So he does. So for a perfect example, he gets hit. He hits the wall and rolls. He's not wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
He would be fucking dead.
Yeah.
He would be dead. He hits that wall so
Yeah,
hard.
this is another one where it's just like, yeah, oh yeah, he's somehow fine again.
You know a cool thing that usually happened in car chases we didn't get? Someone's usually walking like a cart or like carrying a big piece of glass across the street
And
and,
they
it
have to,
gets
like,
smashed.
slam. Yeah.
We don't get that in motorcycle chases.
Can't happen.
Normally you get them on the one wheel. Like they hit the brakes and they come all
Yeah.
the way up.
Yeah, I
to
just
avoid
don't- There's just too many of them.
But then
They
he,
fix it in this movie. They do fix it later on because they go from that to the ultimate.
Oh, I did say this. So in that drive, why would they have the man with a bag over his head sit shotgun? like clearly visible. If you like stop at any moment, you're like, you clearly like.
Just make him like, yeah, he's going to a surprise party.
Yeah. We broke him out to go to his 40th.
Oh yeah.
Why is he also in a straitjacket?
A random pedestrian looks and you just go, shh. It's a secret.
So
now they're underground.
Now they're underground.
Now this is where all the shit play. This is where Benji gets his moment.
Yep, and so Vanessa Kirby, who plays the White Widow, Tom Cruise is like, I have Lane. He's like, I did it my own way. She's like, why? Because he's still got to maintain his cover. And now she wants Ilsa as well dead. She's like, who was this other bitch? She killed
people, which is actually Tom Cruise killed all those people.
Yeah. Well, she killed them both. They both killed people.
Tom Cruise shot like 4 dudes to save the cop. That's right. What she's upset about.
Yeah. And then now we're kind of at the point where Henry Cavill makes everybody believe that Ethan Hunt is Lark.
Twist after twist. Yeah. So they think Ethan Hunt is Lark.
And he sedates... Oh, this is the cool... This is like
what I'm trying to get to.
Sorry. There's just so much.
So they find out that, like, so they have to take the tracker out of Lane, right? They have the twist after twist after twist. So it's like the Alec Baldwin, Hunley comes in and he's like, all right, you are the bad guy. We figured it out. You are actually Lark. It makes sense that you're Lark. And so the whole plan is that they're going to keep Solomon Lane underground. They're going to use Benji in the Solomon Lane mask instead. Take him up. Ethan Hunt's like out of commission. You're not doing this at all. Walker gets left there. Well, he's there, but he's like he's on a tight leash because he's got to prove himself innocent. And then, like, Walker is the one that's left in charge of watching Solomon Lane. Don't let him out of your sight.
And literally 2 seconds.
He goes on because he's Lark. So he unlocks it. He goes in, and then
there's a slight difference actually in Benji's coat and in actual Solomon's coat. If you actually like look, I noticed when they're sitting side by side, it's like a shade lighter. And then you could, like, it's that different.
You can see it when you're watching.
Yeah, so like
it turns out Benji was the one that was left behind. They catch Walker basically admitting to being...
And Luther has the best line of the old movie. Ooh, bad boy.
Yeah. They hit the Halloween line again, I think, at one point here.
They did say it again.
And then...
it's a double cross of a double cross.
Double crosses.
Yep.
So now CIA. CIA's taking all of them. Ilsa Faust shows up. She saves the day, I guess. She kind of helps out.
But then down goes Baldwin.
Now, bye-bye Baldwin is my note, exactly.
So Baldwin's dead, and so now they need to get... And so then
they need to catch Walker.
They need to catch Henry Cavill, and...
This is the foot scene where he breaks his ankle.
This is the, like, a 15-minute... It feels like 15-minute chase scene where he's just running...
But he's on buildings and in buildings, and Walker's on the street. And this is what's cool about this. So Benji's, like, showing him how to go. This is where I said, like, because I'm pretty sure at one point Ethan Hunt, like, goes through a window.
Yeah, he does.
And he's just in an office.
He's like, and it's a realistic jump because it's only like, it's like 2 or 3 floors, so it's not like crazy. But he's like, jump. And Ethan's like, dude, give me a fucking second.
Yeah. Because Benji doesn't realize he's above them. Yeah. He thinks he's like, you got to make a left here. Right. He goes through a funeral. Yeah. He's like, I can't, like...
Is this when he's like, oh, sorry, I had the screen lock on?
Yeah. And then later on, he's like, oh, man, I had it on 2D. Because he was on, like, he was a fucking, like on the roofs, and he thought he was just right behind him. But this scene was cool to me because this is the scene where it's like, he jumps in, he's in an office building.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's kind of funny that, like, these people are working their 9-to-5s. And Ethan Hunt's trying to stop a nuclear holocaust. Like, those two things are happening simultaneously, and they finally have, like, addressed that.
Yeah,
like, these guys are just fucking telemarketers, just trying to sell you...
do their job.
Like a cable company. It's not Comcast. And he's interrupting that.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to stop this terrorist.
So this is when... He's running building to building, and he does actually break his ankle and damage his knee. And then they shut it down, and the final cut's in there. But it's a lot of running. And he is one. I'm pretty sure he's not sweaty at all. Nobody has this kind of stamina. I don't care. He's like full speed, not jogging. He's full sprinting.
He's full sprinting like blocks.
Now, I guess maybe you could say if the end of the world is in sight, maybe your adrenaline does kick in, and you have that like mom super strength.
You'd sweat. You would sweat though.
I would, yeah, because he's wearing a leather jacket running, and then he goes into like so he ends up getting Henry Cavill down to this elevator shaft, and he jumps underneath him, and Henry Cavill goes, boom. If you come after me, Julia gets it.
Shows the picture. Brat.
Can we talk about how ridiculous that is? So, like, Henry Cavill's going up that elevator with, like, the see-through floor, and he's just, like, hanging. Did he think he wasn't going to fucking see him?
Yeah, because it's like, even if you do get to the top, what do? You can't get out.
Literally, what do? You're going to have to go down one more floor and get off. And then Henry Cavill's just kind of looking at him like, seriously, dude? Like, what are you, stupid?
Like I do like that look he gives him. He's just like, you're not fucking, like, what are you doing? I do like that. But this is where I will say, I do feel like Luther is now just a set piece. Like, he's just there. He doesn't really do anything.
He's the guy in the chair.
Yeah. Which is, we didn't even talk about, that this is the beginning of the movie is that Luther feels blamed because Ethan saves Luther's life instead.
Yeah,
So Luther has this whole...
That's why I said they had them, but they lost them because they have Luther, like... caught, and
so
Ethan saves him. So the whole thing is them.
And Luther has this guilt the entire time. Yeah. And that also kind of leads to, he gives a nice speech to Rebecca Ferguson saying... Ilsa Faust saying, like...
Ilsa Ferguson.
Don't, like...
It
don't
made me halfway. You can call her Ilsa Ferguson.
Ilsa Ferguson is like, don't fuck him over. Like, if, like, help him out. Like, basically, he's like, I think it's unfair of him to tell her to do this, but he's like, forget your mission, focus on Ethan.
He basically says that Ethan's only ever loved one person. It was Julia, and now he like.
Doesn't he say I've
only
ever
two
seen
people,
him love
but he
one
says
of them?
One of them was Julia, and now he's like implying that the other one is her, and like he's sacrificed everything to keep Julia safe, and he's like he's gonna sacrifice the entire world to keep you safe. Like you can't fucking do this, so you gotta kind of sit this one out. This happens after Walker gets away.
Yeah,
it's like you gotta sit this one out, and she's like, nah, not happening.
Yeah.
And Tom Cruise Ethan Hunt kind of smiles, and then next thing you know, they're in Kashmir.
Yeah,
Cue Chase Utley.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I do think it's unfair of Luther to ask her, like, sure, he's trying to save the world, but she also has her own agenda, just like Ethan has his. But the world over yourself, absolutely every time.
It's not, but she's not sacrificing. Like she's not doing that. He just knows that if the option was kill Solomon Lane or save Ilsa Faust, he's gonna save Ilsa Faust.
Yes, he is.
And so it's not like he's saying like, "Hey,
like stay out of the way.
You're fucking up." It's more like if you're there, he's gonna be distracted.
Yeah, and then
he's right. He's 100% right.
And we also find out here the reason why Julia and Ethan broke up, which is that if they both were together, it was bad for the world.
He couldn't save the world.
And he couldn't save her. And it was basically like if they were together, he wasn't out there.
He couldn't save the world if they were together. And if they were together, she wasn't safe.
What a fucking ego, first off. Being like, I'm the only one that can do it.
Who wrote this script?
Yeah. But that's the main reason why they weren't together.
Ethan Hunt, without you.
Like
we all would have been blown to pieces.
Oh, Ethan.
Ethan. Oh, Ethan.
Oh, your Scientology levels are so high.
Oh, Ethan.
What?
They measure.
They're not like measuring midi-chlorian shit.
They do something like that. Look
Ethan,
it up.
lick my hunt. I have to cut that.
Just cut that whole part.
No, it's staying in.
Can you clip that line and make that the intro?
Oh, Ethan.
Cut that. No, just so whispered. Might have to cut that.
You gotta cut that. That's somewhere in the archives.
All right, so they go to Kashmir.
Now we're in Kashmir.
We find out the 3 bombs. The intent with the 3 bombs was to blow up this like river bed area.
That was the natural water for.
It would create such an issue. Just water supply wise, food wise, for so many people that it would cause so much death. They also have like
China, India, and Pakistan would lose water.
And
that's why he picked Kashmir.
The apostles have started like a pandemic or like some kind. It was like I forget what the actual virus was in this area. So it's already like blocked off because people aren't going there because there's like a virus.
Mm-hmm.
So this area is kind of like. Other than doctors, Q, Julia, and husband, who is from what? What's that guy from?
The Hunger Games.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the guy from the Hunger Games. the game master or whatever he's called in the Hunger Games.
Yeah. He's the son. Here he works for the... But it doesn't matter.
So this is like the big finish, right? So you have this... They're going to set these bombs off. They have 3 bombs in 3 different... Or 2 bombs.
They need to go off... 2 bombs, but they need to be...
They're going to go off simultaneously. You have to cut the
Yes,
triggers at the
so-
exact same time. The only time you can cut the trigger is if you take the little, like, battery piece out of the actual detonator.
Yeah.
And so it's like an impossible mission, some might say.
Some might say. So they both have to be... For them to be deactivated, they both have to be activated. So you the bomb...
Yeah, they have to
timer-
have already been deployed for, like, the 15-minute window or 10-minute window or whatever.
So I had a note for this part. Earlier in the movie, they go, "We can't let this countdown start. It'll be impossible to stop."
Yeah.
And now they go, "The only way to deactivate this is to let the countdown start." Man, these missions really are impossible.
Yeah, they are. So this scene is like, I'm not going to go to this. Julia comes back because she's working at this, like,
Yes.
as a doctor there. So now Ethan Hunt sees her. But this was like a cool sequence. Luther gets his little moment in the sun. They find the bombs. The only way to find them is to look for, like, radioactive stuff, and there's, like, X-ray equipment and MRI machines everywhere, so that kind of, like, fucks up their little search.
And Ilsa Ferguson was like, "Benji, it's not in this tent. It's going to be somewhere else." And so she finds
Solomon
Lane and the other
who is
bomb.
willing to kill himself. He's done. He's not running anymore.
Yep.
He gives the detonator to Walker, to Lark.
Yes.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill brought Julia there.
So
That's
now
why.
we get what is much better than a motorcycle scene. A helicopter chase scene.
This helicopter chase scene is fucking insane.
It is.
It's
wild.
so good.
It gives possibly my favorite line from any movie ever.
Was it all the bongos?
No. When Ethan, he gets in front of the other helicopter and he's about to drop to hit it, he goes, "Here, hold this for me, will you?"
Okay, he drops the cargo. Yeah.
So-
Amazing.
But before he drops the cargo, he's hanging from the cargo.
That's how he gets on the helicopter, which also, then he, like, climbs into the helicopter. I understand very little about helicopter physics, but if there's a human, let's say 200
Gonna
pounds
sway
of
it.
extra weight on one side of the helicopter.
Tom Cruise is about 150.
I'd say about
170. I looked it up already, actually. He was 5'7", 170, if I'm not mistaken. I can double check those stats. But
So you're gonna if you're on the
Wouldn't you
helicopter, you're gonna
feel
feel it.
Yeah, you would probably have to adjust.
Yes.
Because it's going to be pulling you one way.
but
Yeah.
the pilot doesn't notice.
You're
the
not
goddamn
sneaking
thing.
up on anybody.
No, he doesn't.
He's just, oh yeah, I'm flying.
I
through
guess
the
it's just
mountains,
turbulence.
Having a good day.
Turbulence, you know. So filming the helicopter hang, they filmed in New Zealand for 4 weeks. Cavill said it was 4 weeks of him hanging his head out in the freezing cold, shooting blanks. We've all been there, right, guys?
Never in the
McQuarrie,
cold.
I've done it.
I just can't make it work.
McQuarrie said that of the drop, because there's a scene where Cruise climbs twice. He climbs once, and then he falls onto the payload, which you would also feel, as Bob was saying. So they gave Cruise a safety harness, but not completely safe from harm. So it's just to guide him to where he needs to go. Many of the crew thought it was a horrible accident when he fell. So they're sitting there watching this and not knowing. I guess not everybody knows the ins and outs. They just got to
Nobody
do their
told him
job.
He was going to fake fall.
Yeah, so in terms of landing, if he had hit the payload first, his neck would have been broken by the impact. So McQuarrie said that even the safety line
shame
couldn't
it
have
didn't
protected him. Oh my God.
I didn't mean that.
He would have finished it. He would have finished the movie. So not only that, but the actor performed this stunt a total of 5 times, and Cruise did 100% of the flying when he takes over the
Dude,
chopper.
I'm so fucking.
ridiculous.
I don't like
so
your.
sick
I
of
don't
it.
like your statistics
so sick
because
of
I feel like it's like Tom Cruise writing an autobiography. I did all of it. I'm so cool.
Well, that's the
You know
fucking-
how many times I fell? 5 times. You know how many times I had to jump in the Halo scene? 100.
You know what's sick? I was really piloting the helicopter.
Yeah, you know what's super
I
awesome?
figured he was.
You know what I
I
couldn't
don't like
do?
Tom Cruise anymore.
You know what I couldn't do? Reach the fucking top shelf. That's what I couldn't do this entire
Well, that's
time.
why the helicopter's good, because there's no gas pedal. So like he's fine.
Yeah, he's
He's sitting there like a
Doesn't have to
kindergartner.
reach it.
But it's interesting that of all
Ride
the
the
things,
chopper motorcycle
of all the
next
things Ethan knows how to do, when he gets into the thing,
Oh, that was the joke. Eat and hunt. Think about it. Let it sit.
that's the T-shirt.
Yeah. Tom Cruise is
Eat and
and
hunt.
hunt.
The craziest part of all this shit that happens is that Tom Cruise gets in the cockpit and he doesn't know how to, like Ethan Hunt doesn't know how to fly a helicopter. He's just like, I'll wing it. And then he does these death-defying, like fucking flight.
He knows how to fly a helicopter.
So this scene is shot entirely in IMAX. It looks beautiful. And then it leads to a very chaotic, crazy climax of Cavill, helicopter versus helicopter, Cavill versus Cruise. That comes down to the final second. The helicopter scene in itself, I'm not going to describe scene by scene. The helicopter scene in itself is fucking awesome.
It's intense.
When they're both rolling and then they're like both fall down the shaft.
Oh, you mean when they casually survive now a helicopter crash?
Yes.
3 different times.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Scene.
Yeah,
I got you. Yeah.
It's fucking
Once again,
insane.
walk away from it.
Absolutely.
Not like, yo, this guy he was fucked up.
But he does look, I will say he does look fucked up, but not as fucked up as Henry Cavill.
Who got burned by oil.
And his face is all fucked up. It's very
got
funny.
A Two-Face action.
Yeah, and
He's
then
running for DA.
And then it comes down to the final second, and Luther's like, we're just going to fucking cut the cord at 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
At 1 second. And
also, before, so the helicopter, there's like the hook that's like hanging over. It's like surviving off this hook. Ethan Hunt, you know how he gets back up to the detonator. A little bit of rock climbing.
Yes, he
does. Comes back.
I have in all caps, rock climbing.
Yeah, he's a rock climber.
Cool Superman death.
Oh, I also have
pulls that thing and it knocks
pretty
him in
sweet Henry Cavill death. He's got like a big metal hook that just goes straight into his
I
skull.
only refer to him as Superman in my notes.
That's.
I just said what a brutal
I have him as
death.
The Witcher. So
I had up top. I had Superman double cross, and then underneath, oh shit, Superman double crossed.
Yeah.
I said Solomon had the hardest bomb ever, and they still thwarted him. It's like you kind of just got to hang it up. Like after that, like
100. Like, did they kill Solomon at the end of this? I don't remember.
No, I think is he arrested again?
He was just recaptured. I thought.
Yeah. So like,
because he's the way they tie him up is like his legs are tied to like his neck. Basically, like they do it with rope.
Okay.
So like any way he moves, it pulls him tighter so he can't get out. So
right.
he's in
but like
custody.
you got to get out of the game.
Yeah, you're like you're fucked. This is the most impossible bomb ever.
You just blew a 3-0 lead in the finals 2 years in a row. That's what you did.
Just give me my 10 grand back, asshole. You know.
Yeah, you just retire. You accept that like you had a good run.
There's only one crooner king, so it's just. And anyway, Club Aqua's better.
Trying to fuck up the decals.
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Trying to make it look fake.
Watch
So then
at
the end of the movie, I don't remember what the context was, but somebody refers to them saving the world again as the usual.
Oh yeah, there's this scene, this very emotional scene at the end between Cruz and like Julia and Rebecca Ferguson, where I actually was like, this is a horribly acted scene from Tom Cruise. And I don't think he's a terrible actor. I don't think he's a great actor, but this is where it shows that like this is why he does these stunts. Because
he can't do the emotional stuff.
No.
Like I don't ever feel if you go back to 3
because he doesn't have emotions.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a sociopath.
Nah, he's not.
Only a sociopath would do these fucking stunts.
He doesn't have emotions because his alien god took them away from him.
And then the movie ends with.
Do we have any Scientologist listeners?
Not that I know of. I don't.
Do we have any listeners?
I don't. Maybe not after this episode.
Can we send out a survey?
We surely can.
A nice census. Hey guys.
But then
do you listen? What's your religion? Can I make fun of it?
I can add some polls. But that's basically the movie. That's the movie ends. The movie ends with them catching Solomon, Walker dying, and basically the apostles and the syndicate no longer have a leader. So I assume that this will be the conclusion. This is what Dead Reckoning is probably shutting this down. I don't really know. But what did you guys...
I'm confident that they're going to say the phrase Dead Reckoning, though.
Yeah, they have to. Part 1.
Yeah. This is part 1 of the Dead Reckoning.
They have to.
And in the second movie, this is
kind
the
of
Dead Reckoning part 2.
It's kind of their thing. They have to. So, now that we just walked everybody through the film, what's your thoughts? Like, what did you really enjoy about this? What is your takeaway? What's your takeaway now of the franchise? Are you glad that we did this rewatch, Bob?
I've already said that I am glad that we did this rewatch. I do like the films. I'm excited to see Dead Reckoning, the first part 1.
Yeah.
It should be called the first. That'd be funnier. Dead Reckoning, the first.
Dead Reckoning.
This is our first Dead
And then-
Reckoning,
Or
guys.
he's called Dead Reckoning, and then the second one's Dead Reckoning Junior. Would be funny. That's what we should do. That
Guys,
movie
this
for.
is our Dead Reckoning again.
Yeah.
Just turn the R into like a 2 or something. Dead 2
But,
it.
Trekkening, which is funny.
No, Dead Reckoning and Deader Reckoning.
Yeah, Deader Reckoning is good. Yeah.
Right, or Deader Reckonings.
Guys, this is the deadest reckoning we've ever had.
Mission Impossibler. I will say this.
Like,
Still a
whatever.
4.
Still a 4.
Still a 4.
Really? Your brother gave it a 4 too.
I think they're all. I think that 4, 5, and 6, while they do get better, they're all in the same lane. None of them like.
In terms of plot.
No, in terms of like, what do I get out of them?
Okay.
And I get cool action sequences. I get some funny lines. I get a twist. They all have that same. None of those situations do I get like a wow. I was just so enthralled in that movie where like I felt something and like I feel like I'm 100% entertained and very entertained.
Yeah.
But I'm not walking away from this movie to be like I need to go tell somebody about this movie.
Interesting.
So that they need to go watch this too. Unless somebody's like, "Hey, I need a mindless action movie.
Okay.
You got a good one for me?"
I think these are more or less because you got to like pay attention, not like Westworld.
Yeah, I
pay
guess not
attention.
mindless,
They're
but
not
like do you have a
mindless.
fun? Like if my dad was looking for a fun,
Yeah, I feel
movie
like
to
these
watch,
are.
I'd give him one of these.
I feel like
right?
these are thoughtful action films. Like they take themselves seriously. They're not like goofy, but they are like
They're
we're gonna
over the top to an extent.
yes, and we're gonna give you a good time. You're
But I'm not
see
going to
us-
come away like so. By that logic, if that emotional scene at the end is really well acted, that'd be like a 4.5. But they don't have that talent because they have Tom Cruise.
Yeah, but Rebecca Ferguson's a great actress,
No, she is great.
and I like Simon Pegg quite a bit. But no, that's a great perspective, and I'd love to hear. I'd like to hear what you guys think. Shane,
I enjoyed it a lot. I was looking forward to this one just because I like Henry Cavill a lot.
Yeah.
And I also really like Simon Pegg. So I remember I kept asking you when we first started these, like, when does Simon Pegg come in? Just because, I don't know, I just love everything he's in. I don't know, I think I'd go 4, 4.5.
yeah,
Enjoyability, it's a 5. It's an enjoyable movie. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know, Tom Cruise is kind of a robot. He does cool acting, or he does cool stunts, but he kind of shits the bed when it comes to any emotional scene.
yeah. Well, it's like the Rock. It's like you pay the Rock to be the Rock, but I
I
feel
can't tell
like
you a rock movie where I'd say that's more than a 4.
I agree. But I think with Tom Cruise, you pay Tom Cruise to be Tom Cruise, and he's also a better actor than The Rock. I think like he's good in these movies.
Tom Cruise isn't afraid to look like he's losing a fight in a movie. He literally dies.
I
Yeah.
feel like I
one
need
of
to
the
have.
movies.
Yeah, he should have died 5 times with these.
Like if you were
Wheel
to,
spins.
like I'm not sitting here saying, tell me the
Like, what
10
do you
best
give this
actors.
movie?
This is a 5-star movie for me because of what it is. It's not. I'm not watching this for the narrative. Like this is very
Well,
much.
you're ranking it in its genre. Then you're not ranking it as a 5-star movie because a 5-star like Shawshank and this.
5-star action movie.
You're saying 5 stars for both, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way I'm looking
If
at it.
if I will, I would say as a movie in itself, whether when that's just the problem. This is where Letterboxd gets tricky, and there's some things that like you give, like I was just saying from the letter because this
So
is what I give.
Letterboxd, you can caption, hey, 5 stars, great action movie, like you just said.
Yeah.
But like if I'm looking at a ranking and just like an
If you ask me my top 20 favorite movies of all time, this would not probably.
and
be
that's
in
what
it.
I mean. So like to
But
give it 5
in-
stars is.
But
like,
then also
weird.
you have to rate a movie within the movie of itself. You can't compare. I can't compare this to Shawshank and be like, well, Shawshank's a 5 movie in terms of the way that a movie's structured, the way that it works, what it does well, acting, set pieces, action. Like so, you just grade the way that at least this is the way that I do it. Grading the movie just for itself, like you. That's why I sometimes give movies a little bit less if they rely so heavily on unless it's like, for example, the new Fast and Furious ends on a complete cliffhanger, whereas so does Spider-Verse, but it's done well. So like I'm not going to knock
you also-
Spider-Verse points, but I'll knock Fast and Furious because I also feel that Spider-Verse was a complete movie.
And you also know that like Fast and the Furious, the new Fast and the Furious.
They haven't even filmed.
You know there's going to be new ones.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse is a part 1, part 2 situation.
Yes.
So like Dead Reckoning ends on a complete cliffhanger. I'm not shitting on it.
Yeah.
Because it's Dead Reckoning part 1.
Yeah, exactly. Harry Potter part 1.
Yeah.
Like, you know it's
like,
a part
It's got
1.
to end at some point, and if it ends and it's all wrapped up, then who needs a part 2?
Exactly. So that's why, like, that's just what I mean with, like, some people will knock one movie and not the other, and I'm just grading the movie within itself. Okay, I sat down, I watched this movie, and for these 2.5 hours, this is what I experienced. And in terms of movies, it excels in what it's supposed to do.
So you're saying, like, genuine enjoyability.
Yes, I think that this...
After 2.5 hours, you were like, I really fucking loved what I just saw.
Yeah, I ran out.
It becomes 5 stars.
We walked Chase, and Audra was ahead of me, and I just let her go, and then I ran and did the high knees because I was like ready to run through a brick wall when this movie ended.
Okay.
Like I just genuinely loved it. I liked the other ones. I loved this one, and so of the 6, this is my favorite one. I think the action's fucking awesome. I think it's directed like super well. The cinematography on the Kashmir stuff is quite honestly beautiful. It's very crisp and clean. And then
it's
just
weird that they filmed that in New Zealand too.
It is, isn't it? I don't know why they picked it. I guess they just like.
I mean, a lot of things are filmed. I guess they have like good filming permits and shit like that.
It might have just been time of year too.
But just not a scene.
Yeah,
or scenery that I associate with New Zealand.
Agreed. But yeah, no, that's a good question too, because like I could be like, this is a 95 out of 100. But just kind of give you some background on when I look at a movie, like my criteria for grading a film. And, that's why some of these, too, like the Marvel movies, like I do give a little bit of a slack because I'm like within, like the way that they work within themselves.
You weight them in the MCU.
I weight them in the MCU. I weight them as, like when we left Ant-Man, I was like, this is still it's an entertaining movie. It's not the greatest movie, but it's an entertaining.
Looking at in the grand scheme of what they are. So
but I'm also
you're weighting this in what it is, but you're also weighting this in the Mission Impossible franchise, which this is the best film of the franchise. I think we all agree on that.
Yeah, and like if I saw this individually and like there wasn't anything else, I still think that this would be maybe a 4.5 out of 5.
I think this movie is better because of
the previous
what they've built. Yeah. Like they did the job, and like Solomon Lane, he's a fucking badass.
Yeah.
So when it's him that he has to get out, I mean, and we all kind of saw it coming, I think, but it's like, oh,
yeah,
that's Ethan's nemesis.
And something daunting like this, where it was a rewatch for me, but it wasn't for you guys. So there was a lot of pressure that me suggesting, hey, let's go on this 15-hour journey.
Other already planned rewatches.
Yes.
Saying we're doing Mission Impossible.
Let's start this long movie series where the first 2 suck.
What we try and do, the first time we did this, it was Indy, and that was COVID. But the second time we did it last year, we led into Jurassic Park.
Honestly,
we did Star Wars.
We did Star Wars.
Talked about
also still COVID though, so that's kind of like doesn't.
We talked about doing Back to the Future.
Yeah,
I think it was better to do a movie series where me and Bob hadn't seen them.
This was,
and that we didn't have just 3 episodes of us going, "Oh, you remember this part in Back to the Future? Yeah, that was fucking awesome." I think it was better that we had genuine reactions.
Yeah, so
going forward, one of us needs to say, "Hey, you guys have never seen this shit.
Yeah.
You should watch it."
Yeah,
because I mean, we talked about Transformers, but I'm all right with kind of just watching them at my leisure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. That's after doing this, which was 6 movies.
Yeah,
and Transformers is 6.
I think we need.
Is that what we figured it out?
Yeah, I think we need to.
I don't need Transformers.
I think the 3, and I'm glad this is like commentary just for the audience. Having a series where at least when I'm setting these up, just because of our lives, being able to do one movie an episode, I think is better structure for not only us recording, because then we can watch one and they
2.
blend, or 2, because then like these
3 is daunting.
They blend together too.
They blend, and then the podcast becomes just a 3-hour drag.
Which is, I mean, hey, we're monthly, so we're giving you content. But no, I kind of like the idea of maybe going. So this one next year or our next one, I'm out. I can't pick. I pick this.
So I gotta look and see what I like that you guys haven't seen, or at least one of you hasn't seen.
Yeah,
I think that's the move.
Or maybe like if there's multiple, we've only
John
seen
Wick
one.
would have been good, but then I went and watched them all without you guys.
I've seen them all.
But I'm saying I hadn't seen them until a month ago.
But also that's kind of the same thing where it's like
It would have been very similar to this.
Yeah.
As far as just,
We've talked about doing this with Marvel before. Like, everybody has to suggest something that someone else hasn't seen, and then we all come together and talk about them all.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's a good idea.
It is. And
Now, we just got to think of something that me and Bob can pick that
I haven't
the
seen.
other two haven't seen, so we can do different
And
series
part
on
of,
it.
and I don't know if I said this on the last episode, but part of it was I was rewatching these for Dead Reckoning, and I had been saying these movies are awesome. And a lot of the time it does happen. Like, if we don't see shit together, there's a good chance that, like, you guys are just busy. You're not going to watch something, but give or take. But, like,
depends on what it is.
But, like, this is
But,
6
like,
movies.
You watched this during COVID.
Yeah.
This is something you were doing.
And if I was like, hey, Bob, you should watch.
At the same time, I was watching the Blade Runner movies.
Yeah, which I
which
got
you
to.
then watched later down the line.
Yeah, but if I was like to you, hey,
That
even
would
to
actually
you,
be good to do because I haven't seen them.
It's not good.
Blade, I love Blade Runner 2049.
The
We've had
first
this
Blade
conversation.
Runner is a slog.
I don't like the first
That's
one.
why
second one
I
is
started it and I gave up.
okay.
But if I was
You
to
like
say,
how the Blade Runner 2049 looks,
it's beautiful.
but it's not that great.
If I were to say to you, either of you, hey, Mission Impossible 7's coming out. You guys should watch the first 6. You tell me that I'm not doing that.
Hey,
like
go,
it's just like
go spend
no,
like 18 hours watching all these
exactly.
movies.
So that's what I mean when I'm like, hey, this is daunting. I picked a 6-movie
Yeah.
franchise, suggested it to you, and you guys were like, well, we wanted to do Back to the Future, but we'll do this. And I appreciate
you
that.
also gave us a 4-month heads up,
Yes, I
which
did.
was like, okay, we
Yeah,
can do
yeah.
this.
Yeah, if you were like, we're doing this next week, me Bob would be like, yeah, no
I
shot.
would never fucking
I'm watching
do
a
that.
YouTube recap and I'm lying my way through it.
I would never fucking do that. But I'm glad it worked out. So from what I took, you guys are glad you watched all 6, but mainly these last 3.
The last 3 are good movies.
Yeah, they
they're
are.
Like,
They're
they're the
solid.
kind of movies that I like too. It's an action movie. It's like a thriller. There's twists. It's
It's,
I mean, I love bullshit 80s action movies.
Yeah.
And this is the whole reason I love them.
and there's a slight nice part to it too, where you don't have to. You're locked in because you want to be. Like, you don't have to pay attention to every
Yeah.
single detail.
yeah.
Like, you're not like.
Although I did find myself, if I was getting distracted,
yes.
you rewind. Like,
Yep.
oh, I might have missed something because like you don't know when you can miss shit.
I had seen this and I was taking a note and I was like, wait. I was like, Audrey, we got to rewind.
Yeah, like
'Cause she watched it
I would
with
be
me.
typing something down and
Yeah.
hear them say something in the background, like, oh no, and like go back 10
Yeah,
seconds.
and this is also for me. I don't know, maybe if you guys feel this way, but this was a genuine surprise. When I watched these, I was surprised I liked them, and I watched them
I'm-
because of Fallout.
Shocked that you saw 1 and 2
And
and stuck with it.
it's because of Fallout. That's the only reason.
Oh, I
because
thought it
I
was- I
heard
thought it was
Fallout
because
was
of-
so good.
Okay.
I thought it was because of quarantine. You just had nothing else to do.
No,
So you're
because
like, fuck it.
because all
Was Fallout streaming at the time?
yeah, it was on Prime. But Audra tapped out at 2, and I was like, oh, do I want to fit? I was like, fuck it. And I had so many because I was
And also,
I was
COVID helps. You have so many hours to kill. It's
I was
whatever.
illegally streaming them too. So I was like,
You were legally.
That's what I.
streaming
That's what
them?
I said.
Oh,
Did I say?
okay.
I meant legally.
Yeah, yeah.
I've now owned them, so you can. Yeah, but anybody who had a problem with that,
Fuck off.
fuck off, motherfucker, in different language.
Yeah,
but
motherfucker in Russian.
anyway, I'm glad it worked out.
That was the previous episode.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys enjoying it. And if there's any listeners out there who got to watch these for the first time too, I hope you guys enjoyed it and watched along. And if not, I hope you enjoyed listening to us talk about these movies.
It was so worth it to push through.
Yeah.
But honestly, Audra had the right reaction to tap out after 2. Like, fuck this. I wanted to tap out after 2. I was like, fuck.
2 sucked. 2 so bad. But before we go, one more impossible mission.
One more
correct?
impossible mission for the group, for the good of the group.
Oh, it's a beer.
Oh, just a beer?
Yeah.
I guess I can get one of those down.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening so much. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning is in theaters. I think July 12th. Go see that. We'll eventually cover it on here at some point. But I hope we actually did our job and got you ready as a quick refresher, or at least you had fun along the ride. Remember to leave us 5 stars and a rating. Recommend us to your friends, your family. Check out our Redbubble and TeePublic store. Maybe don't recommend us to your family. I don't know if we're their cup of tea, but check out our TeePublic store and get them a t-shirt for the 4th of July holiday or whatever. You guys want to say goodbye?
No.
This podcast will now self-destruct.